Okay, I've recorded this video too many times. It's only going to take you 10 minutes to do, and I've sat here for 2 hours total, not today. But anyways, the last video, you learned how to get element by ID and change the font size. So you made a button that when you clicked it, it changed the font size small again. So you had to make a function, you had to put an on-click event inside the button, and then you had to make sure that the button had an ID, or I'm sorry, the getElementById was referencing an ID that you had in the style. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to show you other ways that you can change the style with the getElementById, because you can change more than just the font size. You can change anything about the styling that you want, and you can add it to a button click if you would like, or a mouse over or something like that, which we'll get to later on. But I want to show you how to do 3 more things to change style with the getElementById. And then in the next video, we will start learning how to get element by ID and do other things besides change style. So what we want to do is I have 3 buttons here, one to change the size of the picture, one to change the font, and then one to change the background color. So we're going to need 3 separate functions, and we'll name them and we'll write them, and I'm going to ask you some questions along the way that's reviewing the video above this so you know exactly what's going on. So first thing is in the JavaScript. Oh, by the way, you should have this file open. So you should right click, save. It's called JS style changes. Save it to the desktop, open it with Notepad. That way you can kind of see what's going on here and make changes as I do. But this is also going to be a play pause it, so you have to make sure you're pausing when you're doing that so you don't miss a question. Okay? So in the JavaScript, we need to write a new function. So how should we name it? Let's do the first button is to change the size of the picture. So let's make it change size. So how would we write a function that is going to be called change size? Hopefully you picked the answer that looks like this. We have a function, change size, and then it's camel case, open and close parenthesis, open and close curly bracket, and then inside the curly bracket, we are going to write what we want our function to do. So we need to tell it that in this document, we want to get something by the ID, and then we want to change the style, and we are going to change the picture, and so the ID of the picture is pic. So how would we write that in this document, we want to get an element by ID called pic, and then we want to change something about the style? It's from the last video. Hopefully you took it in your notes. Hopefully you got this right. It's this document dot get element by ID in camel case, and then in quotes, and I'm sorry, in parentheses and quotes, you stupid. We say the ID that we want, and we want the one called pic, and then we say dot style because we want to change the style. Now, looking at our ID called pic, there's a width in there, and we wanted to change the size of the picture. So what we want to do is we want to take the width and make it larger. So we'll say style dot what we want to change, which is the width, set it equal to what we want to change it to. So let's make it 200 EX in quote and semicolon. Now I'm going to Control S to save it, and let's refresh the page over here so we can see what it looks like. Looks the same, and it's not working. Why isn't it working? Oh my goodness. So why isn't it working? What have we forgotten to do? Hopefully you said add an on-click event to the button. So we have to tell the button that when we click it what we want it to do, and we want it to run change size function. So we'll say on click equals quotes change size, open and close parenthesis, and then end quote. Now let's save it and refresh, and now when we click the button, it makes the picture larger. So we can refresh, click the button, it makes the picture larger. So we can do this with anything. We can do this to boxes or shapes or images. We can add width or height or anything to them. So think of how you can make a game or an app that would need something to change size. So that could probably happen quite often. All right, so one down. Now we want to write a function to change the font. So the font in the paragraph has an ID of text. So here in the style, we have hashtag text, and it has the border. I guess it's not really font, it's around the font, but whatever. So we want to change this border. Right now it's 5 pixels solid and black. So let's write a new function to change the font. And I'm only saying change font because this button says click to change font on it. So what would that function look like? Good, function change font. Parentheses, open close curly brackets, and then inside the curly brackets we have to put what we want to do. So what should go inside here to get us started? Good, so I'm going to copy and paste all of this. I don't want to type it again. And then instead of the pick, we don't want the pick anymore, we want the text. So that's ID text. Now we don't want to change the width like last time, we want to change the border. So instead of style.width, I'm going to say style.border equals, in quotes, what I want to change it to. So it was 5 pixels solid black. So let's make it 10 pix dashed blue, end quote, semicolon, and save. Notice I have two different functions for two different buttons, and they both are using the getElementById, and they're both talking about changing the style, but we can change different parts of the style. One is changing the width, one is changing the border. And now all it's left to do is add an on-click event to my button. So I say on-click equals quotes, the name of my function that I want to run, which is change font. Save it, and now I'll refresh. Let's click change font and see what happens to that border. Oh man, nothing. What did we do? This is the second time this has happened to me. Why is this happening? Let's try file save it like this. Then refresh. Why is the button broken? Oh, duh. Stupid. I put on L click. Typo. So one letter messes up the whole thing. So let's save that and refresh again. And now let's click change font. And then boom. The border went from 5 pixels solid black to 10 pixels dashed blue because we wrote a function to do that. And we put on the button what function we wanted to run when we clicked it. So there's one more function to write. And you're going to try and do this on your own, just like you did with the last one, and you're going to show me when you're done. The last button says change the background color. Now, what you have to remember, just like I've told you in the last video, is JavaScript does not like hyphens or spaces. So whenever we pass this down into JavaScript, we can no longer have this hyphen, and we have to write background color in a different way. So what you need to do is you need to don't forget to add an on click to your button, what function you want to run. You have to make a new function with a new name for what you want to do. You have to look in this document to get an element by ID. So think of what ID you need to get. You're going to change the style of that ID, and you want to change the background color to something else. So give that a shot, and when you're done, call me over so I can check it out. Peace out.